Welcome back to Star Wars Timeline. Today we're continuing our reviews of the Star Wars The Bad Batch show, Episode 2, Cut and Run. If you guys are first time here and you missed my season premiere non-spoiler review, I'll add the link in the video description. And each following week, I'll add all the links to that so you can easily follow that. Now, my name is Benjamin, and I do Star Wars comic books and book reviews, character highlights, lore videos, and so on. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe, support my channel, and so on. Now, before we get to the actual review, I have something to announce. I'm doing a free giveaway of the first Star Wars Legends books published in the last 6 years. It's by Kenneth Flint. I'm currently in it. I'm on chapter 5. Pretty cool stuff. Stay till the end and find out how you can win a copy. Now, let's get on with the review. Once again, a friendly reminder, this is a completely non-spoiler review. Non-spoilers, guys, so you don't have to worry about this. I have my notes in front of me so I can easily follow it and tell you guys what's up. So, we had our wonderful season premiere. Everybody was super hyped. Now it's episode 2. You know, all the tension, all the adrenaline rush is settling down, and we're slowly easing into the show. And the first topic I want to discuss is basically, how does it feel to watch episode 2 after, you know, all the excitement and everybody's like, how is the show going to turn around? And everybody pretty much unanimously agrees the season premiere was phenomenal. How does the second episode fare? And it was interesting that they changed the pace slowly. I mentioned in my season premiere review that the entire first episode was extremely tense. I mean, it kept me on the edge of the seat. And this one takes a moment of respite. It's a little bit slower paced. It gives us a moment to live without characters. And now we're revisiting a familiar place. Those of you guys who were talking about the spoilers and some things have been leaked, I'll let you wonder what that means. But we're to a familiar place, and there is a connection to the Star Wars Clone Wars, the previous show. What was interesting is that it brings the whole universe together. This particular show, The Bad Batch, doesn't feel like it's a single story taking place in some unknown part of the galaxy. What this show does, it brings all the past, the Clone Wars and the Rebels show, and even the movies, and makes them all tightly knit one single universe. What's interesting also, it doesn't play on nostalgia. Everything that we see here extrapolated from previous shows works together for the story and pushes it forward. Now let's talk about the story, but without any spoilers. I felt that this episode's focus was on Omega. She became an unlikely party member to the Bad Batch, and like George Lucas used to say, that the Star Wars is a family saga, it's a family story. And that's what's explored in this particular episode. They're basically taking traditional elements of the pillars of the Star Wars, how George Lucas used to do it, but they're putting it in a new context, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And what's cool here, from the first episode, we kind of got little hints and moments where the Omega might be a Force-sensitive clone. But what's fun here, instead of focusing, oh, you know, what powers does she have? What does she do? This episode focuses on her emotion. She's a little girl. She's lost in this large galaxy, and she has been ripped from her home, you know, with the cloners in their facility, and now she's with this new party. And she's trying to make sense of it all, and I found that really enjoyable. Also, her particular performance here, you know, there are brighter moments here and also darker, sadder parts as well, but her performance was very nuanced, and it shows how far along the show has come, and it's treating the adult audience very welcomingly. It's saying this show is for kids, but it's also for adults as well. Also, another thing I'd like to mention is that when it comes to the action and the story, there's a lot more synergy going on here. I remember when I was watching the Clone Wars show back in 2008 when it aired, it was obviously intended more for kids, for younger generation, and it felt almost like it's a Lego pieces put together into one coherent story. But it was very compartmentalized. You had a part where it's story, action, story, action. And it almost felt like the story had to make slots to put in the action sequences. Here, things work more organically and more naturally, and one flows into the other effortlessly. I mean, we're comparing 2008 to 2021, and Dave Filoni, with the rest of the alumni, they have grown as filmmakers and as storytellers, and it shows completely in this episode. Next, let's talk about the visuals. I gave my impression of the original season premiere in the first video. I was basically stunned. As a trained animator myself, I reveled in every second of the visual aspect of the season premiere. And the trend continues here. I was afraid that they put all the money in the pilot episode just to hook the audience in, and then things will be kind of like dialed up in the second episode. Not true at all. They're using in the beginning of the episode a brighter colored palette narratively. They're visually telling you a story like, hey, let's take a moment of respite and rest from the very tense first episode and give a little bit of a lighter mood here. What I found exceptionally done in this episode is how the lighting is set up. It feels so cinematic and so rich and lively. And it makes the scenes grander in scope, and the entire setups where you see the characters, traverse, or whether it be like outside of the city skirts kind of landscape or the bustling public place that you'll visit in this episode, it brings so much life to it. And once again, I would like to compare it to the Clone Wars. Obviously things have evolved. In the Clone Wars, you almost could tell that you had a set as if you would have in a movie, and then the painted backdrop, and it kind of felt a little bit small. Here, so much money is thrown into this in terms of like three-dimensional design and how everything looks and feels. It is so grand and just wonderful. Also visually, the way that you're using the color palette, I have my note over here, it reminds me a lot of the Star Wars Underworld, the live-action TV show that George Lucas had plans for and was developing back in 2010, but it never came to be. I'll throw some visuals on the screen so you guys could check out what it looked like. So the public space that I'm talking about in this episode gave me a crazy callback and said, like, look, we remember the past. We remember where this show originates and comes from the mind of the great George Lucas. There was also one cool aspect here. I don't think it's much of a spoiler. I'll just say there's a hologram piece that shows a hologram and the Empire's propaganda, and it kind of threw me back into the Star Wars Rebels, which had a lot of those visual cues. It was just really fun to look at. And lastly, let's talk about the action. Well, it definitely takes a little bit of a backseat in this episode because we need to now center more on the characters. It's still pretty much there, and it's kick-ass. We see Wrecker and especially Hunter go to work here, and I loved of what I was talking about in the previous video, some melee action. Right up my alley. I absolutely loved it. Also, the cameo or, familiar characters that we see from the Clone Wars show that come back here, they also give a helping hand. They don't feel just like props, like, oh, look, we're here. They're very much part of this episode as well, and I really appreciated that. And finally, as promised, here's my free book giveaway, The Heart of the Jedi. It's a novel way back from 1993 that never saw the light of day. It was revised in 2015, and it was self-published by the author on the website, which I will leave the link in the video description below, where you actually could read it for free. But if you like the physical book, I will send it to you for free. All you guys have to do is subscribe to my channel, leave a comment on any future video with the hashtag Heart of Jedi at the end. Also, if you're on Facebook, feel free to subscribe to my Facebook group there called Star Wars Timeline. There's an attached pinned topic also discussing this giveaway. Just chime in, say hello, and leave a hashtag Heart of the Jedi. As soon as I get 500 followers on that Facebook group or 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will select a random winner and send you guys this book. Once again, my name is Benjamin. Thank you so much for your time on watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to subscribe. Leave the comments below what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you for the review of the third episode in the next video. Take care.